Hello everyone, welcome to Data and AI Forum. Today I'm going to present on high performance data warehouse. The agenda for today's discussion is, first I'll be covering evolution of big data and role of analytics. The second point I'll be covering importance of setting up a very strong hybrid data strategy. The third point I'm going to cover is architecture for catering all kind of data needs. And the fourth point for today's discussion will be how IBM integrated analytics system is going to help out building a very strong hybrid data warehouse. The volume, variety and velocity of data is growing at a rapid pace. In one of the article, data is eating the world. It has been forecasted, it has been predicted, data is going to grow to the tune of 193 trillion gigabyte by 2025. This has been predicted by IDC. As we know, there is an unprecedented growth of data. Obviously, it is posing a challenge for the organization. At the same time, we know when there is a challenge, obviously there is an opportunity as well, right? So organizations who are able to harness this data, organizations who are able to analyze this data and use this data for decision making, they are able to cater their customer better, they are giving better customer satisfaction. At the same time, they are able to optimize the process. So in turn, giving growth to the organization. As we know, there are some technology trends which are fueling data growth like AI, IoT, mobile and cloud, right? So one by one, I'll just talk about artificial intelligence. As per latest trend, it is estimated in next 12 months, around 70% of the organization are going for artificial intelligence. Similarly, when we talk of IoT revenue in last 5-6 years, it has grown from 2.7 billion to 7 billion, right? Similarly, the cloud adoption is going to be big way. It is estimated by 2022, 28% of organization IT revenue is going to go towards cloud and its application. Similarly, if we see mobile adoption has gone 7 times in last 5-6 years. So there is a huge trend for this newer set of technology, and at the core of each technology, the data is there. Like talk of AI, artificial intelligence. The first step on the AI ladder is assimilating the data. Unless data is not assimilated, data is not integrated, you can't take on the AI journey. Similarly, IoT. Today, we see in day-to-day life, all the devices what we use are smart devices. It generates a lot of data every minute, every second. And if these data are not collated, if these data are not analyzed, there is no sanctity of these data. You are not able to leverage on this data. Similarly, the trend is there, like mobile usage has gone 7 times. Obviously, the volume of data explosion is happening because of mobile usage is enormous. As we know, data in all shapes and sizes are available, but are organizations leveraging it for doing analytics, understanding the behavioral pattern? The answer is, today's scenario, only 15% of the organization are leveraging data and analytics to take intelligent decisions. So scope is huge. Across industries, harnessing and analyzing data is driving better business decisions. Like for example, we are going to talk about retail, banking and finance, and hospitality and travel industry. Like retail, different use cases are there for retail, like heat maps to optimize product placement. In sense, like in today's scenario, organizations are using data and analytics to figure out what products is to be placed where in store kind of scenario. Similarly, next best action for that, right? Again, intelligent personal assistant, primarily when you do online shopping, intelligent personal assistant help you out to identify product based on your buying pattern, right? Again, there also next best action comes up. So discount before checkout, this is another thing, like when you select the cart and when you're checking out for online business, online transaction, you get discount before that, right? And one major common thing which is across all the sector is fraud detection and prevention of fraud, right? So this is common across. So similarly, like today's scenario, all retail organizations are leveraging analytics big way to understand their customer behavior and give them the best possible option, maximize the wallet share. Similarly, in the banking industry, if you see, generally banking industry people come out, organizations come out with different kind of discount offer. So before that goes live, they just check the probability of getting that particular discount offer success or failure, right? Another area what they are focusing majorly, the banks are focusing to check the customer iteration. So that's another big area for bank to retain the good customer. Similarly, next best action is another area where organizations are leveraging it. Again, as I said earlier, fraud detection and prevention is a major challenge for all the organizations. Now you talk of hospitality and travel. Hospitality and travel also goes in the same line. I mean, analytics is helping them out to sell the complementing product, right? Again, fraud detection and prevention is another use case which is being leveraged in the hospitality industry also. In hospitality industry, or travel industry, like it helps you out reminding about the cards, right? It helps you out available discount. It helps you out real-time available discount to close the transaction. So all these things are happening in all industry. It's not that only these three industries are leveraging analytics. You name any industry, they are leveraging. I want to cite one real life story, and possibly everyone will agree and it will resonate with everyone. Just think of, I as a customer, I work for IBM. I have a bank account, that's my salary account. In that salary account, entire my financial transaction happens from that salary account. Like I get my salary, I get my bonuses in that account, right? From the same account, I pay my credit card bill, I pay my like say housing loan EMIs, similarly the car loan EMIs. You talk of like investment, you invest in the SIP, in mutual fund, that goes from the same account. Similarly, all kind of transaction like say insurance premium, that's also being paid from the same account, right? So, and I'm holding that account for last 18 to 20 years. So if that particular bank wants to analyze my behavioral pattern, my spend pattern, right, and they have, as of now my association is only there with the banking part, like I'm just doing the banking with them, no other business, neither I'm their security subscription, neither I'm doing say mutual fund with them, or I'm a online trading customer, or I have not taken any home loan from them, I have not taken any car loan from them, and my risk profile is very good, and that particular bank knows my risk profile, and the entire data for transaction is there for last 17 to 20 years, 18 to 20 years, right? They can very well figure out my EMI goes on time, I never default on EMI, my credit card payment goes on time. So entire information is there with the bank, right? Despite that, if they are not growing their business from customer like me and you, who are having very good risk score, so the bank is at loss. And this is possible by doing analytics. Like if you do a segmentation for customer like this and check out the spend pattern and check out what wallet share is coming to your organization and what is the gap, you can run a personalized campaign for such heads, and you can generate more revenue, you can increase your wallet share for the same set of good customers. And I think this will resonate well with most of us. Like we don't get the right set of campaign, even though now it has started, but still it's not so compelling, like you will move from that particular the other service provider to your salary account or something like that, right? So this goes true in all industries. Similarly, the retailer, like we do online grocery shopping, and we do online, say use online cab aggregator. So a lot of online things are there, and the entire profile slowly it can be built, and it will be so enriching, like you will know almost 70, 80, 90% about the customer profile. And when you know 70, 80, 90% of the customer profile, you do the risk profiling, then it is very easy to do cross sell and upsell with respect to what product you have available. Now I'm going to talk about the second agenda point, how to build a smart and compelling data management strategy. First of all, why do we need data management strategy? As we have seen, it is very important to leverage the data what you have in the organization. In the past, one data point I shared, only 15% of the organization are leveraging data and analytics for decision making. You will be surprised to know just 0.5%, 0.5% of the total data is being analyzed. The third data point is there, 91% of the organization are getting into bandwagon of cloud, whether it be a private cloud or public cloud or hybrid cloud, but 91% organization are going to go that way. Similarly, when we see the satisfaction ratio, 96% out of the organization who are going on cloud are getting proper return out of it, and out of these 96%, 21% are exceeding the result. So there is a huge chunk and scope for leveraging this data. Similarly, there is another data point which has been covered, like if the organization improve their data usage by 10%, it is going to contribute big time to their bottom line, right? So now we know it is very important to leverage whatever data you have available in the organization. As I talked, data is very important. So as the data becomes more accessible, it provides more value, right? And today, another area where most of the organizations are going to focus, or rather getting into that particular journey, embarking that journey, is digital transformation, right? And digital transformation cannot be achieved unless you are insight driven organization. And again further, if you want to be an insight driven organization, you got to be data driven. So the core of everything is data. Again here, what do you mean by data driven? Data driven as of date, most of the organization, data is available, but it's lying in silos, it's lying in department, right? And people are using department wise. So there has to be a cultural change. And by assimilating data, by getting data at one place, if you analyze those data, you are able to figure out what has happened, why it has happened. And this will enable organization to have better reporting capability. It will enable organization to have self-service, right? It will enable organization to have business intelligence, which in turn will bring the cost down and help out organization to grow. Similarly, to get into insight driven, as you know, now data is assimilated and you are able to figure out what has happened, why it has happened. Insight driven step enables organization to do the prediction part. It helps organization to do optimization. It helps organization to do automation, right? So with these kind of capability, you are able to build models, right? And it creates a competitive edge over the competition. Similarly, once your insight driven step is completed, then you get on to data transformation journey. By having data transformation journey completed, data driven and insight driven, your data is there, you are having predictive, prescriptive, descriptive kind of analysis very much available, then you are ready to create differentiation in the marketplace. You can really disrupt the market. You can bring in the new business model, right? And this makes the organization to grow taller, and this makes the organization a market leader, right? Here, this is what we say, it differentiates men from the boys, right? So by having this digital transformation journey covering all the three steps enables organization to be market leader, and that's where every organization wants to do, and that's not possible without proper data management strategy. Digital transformation journey with hybrid data management. So it's very important to have right set of action. So IBM defines the digital transformation journey in 3 phases. First is the collect, organize, and analyze. In the collect phase, your entire hybrid data management products falls in, wherein it helps out organization to collect the data, different kind of data, you have different database, structure, unstructured, SQL, NoSQL, right? All kind of data, and IBM is having a great offering around that. IBM is having like DB2 and Informix on RDBMS part. IBM is able to IBM is working with other partners wherein we are able to give Hadoop based offering, we are able to give NoSQL offering, and we are able to give, in addition to these these databases, we are able to give, you know, open source database also, and we are able to support those open source database. And similarly, on the organized part, we have information integration, IIG, information integration and governance layer of product, wherein you have now data available. So how do you ingest the data? For ingesting data, you want to do a batch ingestion, or you want to do a real-time ingestion, or you want to do a, you know, semi-real-time kind of, right, wherein mild gap in terms of data being generated and in being pushed. So we have products like, you know, for data ingestion and quality, we have data stage and quality stage. Similarly, for real-time ingestion, we have InfoSphere Stream. For batch ingestion, we have data stage. Again, for near real-time, we have CDC offering. Similarly, for governance, like we have governance catalog, and as you know, there is data explosion. The unprecedented amount of data is being generated. So genuinely, it's a challenge for organization, because if the data is being accessed by the wrong set of people, it is tend to be misused, right? So defining the roles and responsibility, and based on roles and responsibility, data access is being given. That's entire part of our information integration and governance. And the very important part, the lineage part. Today, today what happens, like if somebody is seeing the report, as now most of the organizations are going for the centralized repository, so it's, you know, you have the single version, it's very easy to get the single version of truth. However, earlier, like, you know, department wise, every department used to bring in data, and when it used to be presented, and there used to be variation in numbers, and that used to pose a lot of challenge. So now today, with this hybrid data management strategy, rightly you are positioning all the data at one centralized place, and if somebody questions the you know, authenticity of the data, this lineage feature enables you to see the origin of the data. So the entire, you know, governance mechanism is built in this IIG portfolio. At the same time, the life cycle management of data, that's also possible with the Optim set of product. So this is a very, very strong portfolio. Similarly, when we go to analyze part, on analyze part, we have tools and technology to do visualization, enterprise class tools and technology to do visualization with very, very good graphics and all. At the same time, for data science workload, we have Watson Studio product, which is, you know, inbuilt with lot of data science capability, and, you know, erstwhile SPSS and this SPSS and other tools combined, you know, comes up with the Watson Studio. By having proper data management strategy, you are able to have intelligent analysis and better insight. You can deploy and scale based on your requirement. You can write the code once and you can deploy anywhere, right? So you don't need to reinvent the code again and again if you want to take the workload from on-premise to cloud. Similarly, flexibility with deployment, like, you know, you can deploy on-premise, you can deploy on cloud, and you can have a hybrid kind of model. What are the properties of sound hybrid data management architecture? First of all, it should be capable of taking hybrid kind of workload. It should be able to cater all kind of data types, all kind of data, that is structure, unstructure, semi-structure, like, you know, SQL, NoSQL. Similarly, it should be able to cater fast and slow data. In sense, like, you know, certain event-driven data are there, and the sanctity, the importance of that data is there at that point in time. So there should be possibility of analyzing those data on the fly, so that you can take corrective measure, right? And so obviously the slow moving data, wherein you can do batch processing, you can do, you know, CDC kind of workload, and you can do real time kind of, right? self-service capability. This is very, very important today, like because organizations don't want to load IT for everything. IT need not to be contacted, and IT need to give all kind of reports. So self-service capability, but obviously as we talked earlier, information governance is very important, wherein role-based access has to be given to right set of people for accessing right set of data. There should be cloud agility, because today, the way workload is going, obviously the cloud agility is one of the important factor. Integrated analytics and machine learning capability. So as of now, the entire focus is there to collate the data. Once data is there, then obviously it needs to be analyzed. And if you don't have integrated capability of machine learning and artificial intelligence, the data is not going to add value to organization. Integrated analytics and machine learning, smarter and faster decision. This is very important. Like these days, like everything is focused. You have the data, unless you are not able to analyze and you are not able to put in the algorithm like machine learning, etc. It's not going to give you a lot of value out of it. So it's very important to have a very strong and sound hybrid data management strategy. It enables organization to maximize value and optimize the cost. So just to sum it up, IBM strategy is to cater the workload on premise as well as on cloud, traditional database as well as open source database. IBM strategy is to cater workload on cloud as well as on premises, to cater traditional databases as well as latest open source databases. Similarly, for structured workload and unstructured workload, SQL kind of databases, no SQL databases. So IBM advocates to leverage all these components based on the workload. Whatever suits to the workload, accordingly it should be part of the larger strategy, and accordingly IBM advocates that. Integrated hybrid data management, right? So there are various components, like it should be embedded machine learning and data science, right? So it helps out drive more value from your data, right? If the analytics is done where data is, obviously you are going to derive more value out of it. Just for example, like generally what happens in normal scenario, and other vendor, what they do, they just pull out data, subset of data, and they build model over there, and then they run the model on the sample data and then extrapolate, and accordingly they translate the result. Here what we are talking is embedded machine learning and data science. Means we are taking this machine learning algorithm where data is lying, right? Second, embedded machine learning and data science. Drive more value from your data, run analytics where data is. Generally what happens, and traditionally what used to happen, many vendors they do it that way, they just create a sample data size, right? And they build model, run on the sample data, and then extrapolate the number and then execute it. What IBM advocates is take the model or take the analytics where data lives. So you build model outside, you go run the model right on the entire data set. So the outcome what is derived out of it is far more accurate than running on the sample data size, right? Similarly, freedom of migration and scalability. One hybrid data management entitlement helps out to transfer workload and entitlement to DB2 family offering. What it means, like generally you buy certain licenses, and based on your requirement you can move on, you can scale it up. Freedom of migration and scalability. One hybrid entitlement, transfer workload or entitlement to any DB2 family offering. Deploy and scale as your data architecture evolves, right? You don't need to go big or go very small. So you can buy the entitlement and you can scale up as and when required. The third point is common SQL engine with built-in data virtualization. This is very, very important feature, right? Today's scenario, when there is so much of dynamic environments are there. Today you are building up application for on-premise, and partially you are moving it on cloud, right? So in that scenario, you are writing code once and using it all the places, using it in the different deployment. You can use it on premise, you can use it on cloud, you can use it on multi-cloud, you can use it on hybrid, right? And this is very important feature. And with this, another feature, common SQL engine, the SQL engine enables you to have virtualization and federation also. I'll just cite an example. Suppose data lying partially on premise, certain data is there on cloud, or certain data is there even kept in a separate instance. And with this SQL engine, you will be able to virtualize the environment, you will be able to federate the environment, you will be able to federate data from all the sources and present a common report. So this is very important feature, and our strategy provides our hybrid data management. It provides support for on-premise as well as in cloud. So IBM is a big advocate for hybrid environment, wherein you can have partial workload on premise, partially on cloud, and you can work as one holistic unit. Now we are going to talk about IBM Integrated Analytics System, how it's helping out organizations to fulfill the challenges they are facing and help them out to build a very strong hybrid data warehouse. So what IBM advocates, like many organizations or many industry segment, is having limitation with respect to taking their data on cloud. Obviously, at one go you cannot go, but slowly you can certainly pave the way towards cloud. Maybe certain workload, like say development workload, you can move on cloud and you can have production on premises. Similarly, the different combination can be worked out, right? You have the options to go public, private, as well as hybrid, right? Now, based on IBM experience, right, and we have gathered information from many customers, we are just enlisting the challenges most of the customers are facing. So based on IBM experience and having information from the customer, we are going to talk about what are the key challenges and what are the expectation customer has from an enterprise data warehouse system. First of all, the major challenges these days, broader set of workload are there, right? The workload can be, say, a combination of reporting, deeper analytics, ad hoc reporting, etc. Similarly, the second challenge is concurrency, higher concurrency. As the adoption of analytics is increasing, so there is a far bigger load on the system. So customers are expecting to have higher concurrency from the system. The third important thing is there. I think this has been a problem with IBM previous generation of appliance, which is Netezza. In Netezza, in customer outgrow, say, compute or storage, the only option was there to replace it, right? Do the forklifting. What customer has complained. So there should be in place expansion facility should be there. The fourth point we are talking about is higher availability. These systems are becoming lifeline. In fact, like one of the customer was talking, he can't afford to have 15 minutes downtime. Like every morning when they come, the report goes to MD and entire decision is taken based on that report. So they can't afford to have even any downtime out there. The last challenges customer enlisted is like data warehouse system, whatever enterprise data warehouse system they are going for, it should be able to cater on-premise as well as cloud workload or combination of both. Now I'm going to start talking about IBM Integrated Analytics System. IBM Integrated Analytics System is a purpose-built analytics appliance to cater a diverse set of workload, which is the need of the hour, for structured and unstructured data in hybrid data management. For example, unified data science platform, there should be common SQL engine. It has data science tool like Jupyter Notebook and all inbuilt in this. Then it is having ease of use, like it's very easy, load and go kind of philosophy we follow. In place analysis and machine learning, like as we talked about, IBM advocates analytics where data is, like we don't take out data and do run the algorithm outside and then push it back, right? So we run the model right on entire set of data, right? Provision for storing hot and cold data. This was the feature which was not there our previous generation appliances. To that extent, here we have, like in this particular appliance IBM Integrated Analytics System, we have one core machine and we have a storage expansion, and together it can host huge amount of data. So this IBM integrated analytics system comes in different denomination. It starts with 1/3 rack that can host 27 GB compressed data, and of course, whatever compression we get, we proclaim that's there in the data sheet. So minimum it can host 27 GB data, and it can go up to couple of petabyte. And we have customers in India who are having who has acquired systems which can cater up to couple of petabyte, right? So as I said, you have the core appliance as well as storage expansion, and both be having one unit. So other features and functionality of this particular appliance is load and go. What do we mean by load and go? You don't need to wait for weeks and months to load data and then start analytics. The philosophy of IBM is just load the data and you can start deriving outcome from day one. You don't need to wait for the entire thing to happen. Second, built-in data migration tool, right? Third point, the single management console. As I talked about, data warehouse appliance is comprising of your hardware I mean compute, inbuilt storage, software, and lot of other management software and analytics software. Everything is managed from the single console. It's a performance optimized in place expansion. As I highlighted, this was one of the expectation of key customers, in place expansion. You don't need to go all out at day one, right? You can buy what you require today, but you have option of scaling it up and scaling it up, right? You have the option of nowadays you have the option of bifurcating. If you want to add up compute, you can add up only compute. If you want to add up storage, say your compute is good enough but storage has grown up, right? And you need to put that in a cold storage. Possibly you can buy just storage expansion and cater the growing data requirement, right? And as I said, the single management console, what it means, your entire hardware, that's compute, storage, software, and even storage expansion, which is a separate box, that can be managed from the single console, right? It's a performance optimized in place expansion. It offers single support window, right? So you don't need to call for hardware separately, software separately, or maybe storage expansion separately. The entire call is managed from the single support window. And when you log the complaint, we figure out whether the problem is there with hardware or software. If it is software, we start supporting remotely. If there is a hardware failure, hardware support people go over the on-site and they replace that part. So this particular appliance, as I talked, it has capability of having separate storage expansion. So the data capacity wise, it starts from 1/3 rack, which takes around say around 27 terabyte. So very clearly I have articulated the differences IBM integrated analytics system brings on the table, right? Now I am going to talk about few references. We have the formal references KTB Bank, Capital Logics, you have Millennial Bank and Net Bank. They are using this system, right? And they are the formal reference. In addition, I would like to quote, we have many banks out here in India, public sector and private sector banks, who have embarked the journey of analytics leveraging IBM integrated analytics system, and then the mode of implementation. So that's not a formal reference, but we have very much customers out here in India who are using it or in the mode of migration and adoption, right? Thank you very much for attending this session. Look forward for seeing you in some other session. And thank you for attending Data and AI Summit. Thank you very much.